Today, I'm going to give you some reasons why you should support the African Continental Unity Party with its agenda. Actually, I'm going to give you some reasons why we all should support the ACUP or the African Continental Unity Party with its agenda. Number one, as a reason, is that this is not a nationalistic party. This is not a tribalistic party. This is not a party based on micro-tribalist tendency. This is a continental unity party. That is why we define ACUP as the only first Pan-African political party that transcends the boundaries. You see, every time you are supporting or you are working with a political party that has a tendency of the fake nationalities that were created at the Berlin Conference, or in other words, every time your political party supports the fake nationality that were created at the Berlin Conference, you are not doing a favor to Africa. You are actually strengthening the seed of division and destruction that was planted at the Berlin Conference to make Africa what it is today, and to give us the conditions of life that we are experiencing today, the conditions of precarities and sufferings, things that you know well about. So the only way we can have a chance to escape this reality is by coming up with an ideology that undermines the work of the imperialist at the Berlin Conference. That is why we have come up with a continental party, political party, which aims to achieve the goals of the United States of Africa, which were the goals of Kwame Nkrumah and others who at the national at Addis Ababa in 1963 were about to actually bring this dream or this vision of Marcus Garvey and others into reality. Unfortunately, they were betrayed, and it is our responsibility today to work in making sure that their dreams get to be fulfilled by bringing about the vision and the reality of the United States of Africa. This is the reason number one. And the second reason why we need to support ACUP is because this party is not centered on one individual charismatic leader. This is a party owned by all African people. In other words, every African person who joins the party is a potential leader, because we are no longer at that time whereby all of us, we need to sit down and rely on one single charismatic leader to show us the path to our freedom. Because if he knew the path to the freedom, he would have acquired that freedom by himself first of all. But as far as our reality is concerned, we are all seeking the freedom. Therefore, this journey is a journey of collective work and collective discovery of where lies the conditions necessary to build or to re-establish Africa as a free and as the global power base. That is why everyone who joins us has the opportunity to become also a leader, and eventually everyone who joins the party is a potential leader. One reason also that we don't individualize the party on one single charismatic leader is because of the past. We know that most of our leaders who came in the past, whether you talk about Thomas Sankara, Kwame Nkrumah, they were destroyed, and all the ideas they were pushing were kind of undermined for the fact that the people who were championing the ideas were kind of destroyed. That is why we don't want to center this movement around personalities, because one day when we are about to take off, the enemy will come and then destroy the individuals or undermine the individuals in one way or another, and the whole movement will fail. That's the reason why we want to make this a people's party, a bottom-up revolutionary party, not a leader versus followers party, but the whole Africans party, through which we identify ourselves and we fight for our common goals. And by doing this, we have a better chance to safeguard and to protect our revolution, and making sure that this revolution will be profitable to us and will bear fruit for, most importantly, our children. And the reason number three why we need to support the ACUP and work for the growth and the development of this party from wherever we are is because this party comes with a systemic change. In other words, this party comes with agenda of systemic change. Most of the political parties that we have in our countries today, they don't question the system. They don't actually even try to think about a better system that is fit for us as African people. They are working within the framework of the already corrupt system of capitalism that we have come to know since we were born, and the system that has created a lot of misery, predicament of the masses, and suffering of any kind that we are witnessing at this moment. At the same time, creating unimaginable wealth for the elite of the world, which has created the world, or which has divided the world into two: 1% of the superclass, rich and transnational capitalist class, as we can call them, and the remaining people who don't know exactly where the next meal will come, even though they are living in the land that is rich, that is full of resources and full of opportunities. Right? So we are coming with a systemic change, and talking about systemic change, we are looking at economic system and we are looking at the political system. Economically speaking, we ask the fundamental question that every people must ask, and the question is, who is supposed to control all the resources of the land, its production and the means of distribution? And the way we answer to this question is, all the people of the land must control the resources and the means of production and distribution of wealth. And by saying that, or by answering this question in that manner, we come up with an economic system that we call the Katikati economy. And the premises of this economic system, as part of our systemic change, is all about putting a cap on how much one particular individual can amass as individual wealth. When you look at the world today, we are in the situation whereby individuals, we're talking about 7 individuals since 2016 who by themselves have wealth equivalent to the half of the world's population. And it's very feasible that some days soon one individual can possess by himself all the wealth of the world. And this is not the system that we can rely on for the better future of ourselves and our future generations. Therefore, we need to come up with a system that put a cap on how much one particular individual can get for himself. It's just the same thing as you and your car. When you buy a car, whether it's Lamborghini, whether it's Mercedes-Benz, whether it's Toyota, when you jump with that car on the public road, there is a limitation, the speed limitation, how far you can go with your car. When you go beyond the speed limitation that has been prescribed by the authority, you break the law, and then you are worthy, or you are worthy of punishment. It should be the same thing, because in life, from whatever angle you look at it, there's limitation in everything. So we cannot have a system that relies on exploitation of limited resources by people themselves who exploit the resources. Don't have any kind of limitation on how wealthy they can become. And that is the reason why our countries are becoming more and more poor, while individuals who have controls of the world's resources are becoming more and more powerful and more richer. And this is not a better system. What we want is a system that guarantees that the future generations have also an opportunity to rely on the resources of the land. Now, shifting from the political aspect of systemic change that ACUP comes up with, is that we need to render the power to the people. You must understand that the people that, or what leads your country, what decides the future of the country in which you live, is not particularly the individuals that you elect every 5 years or so, but it is actually the quality of the decisions that these people you elect makes over your life every time when they have the opportunity. And unfortunately, this is a big unfortunately, their decisions have already been bought by the international or multinational corporates who have the power now to buy politicians, to corrupt politicians through the lobbyist groups, so that they can dictate to these politicians which agenda they have to implement. That is why in most cases you elect these politicians, but when they go into the offices, most of the decisions they take always raise some kind of eyebrows from the population and result on the protests on the streets and all these massacres that we witness everywhere in Africa, simply because the agenda that they implement is not the popular agenda for which they were elected, but it's actually the agenda of the people who funded their campaign, people who funded their political parties. And this is a system that we don't want. We want a system that gives the power to the people. And to make this happening, we need to make sure that all the decisions taken in the parliaments, before they get implemented, they must be submitted to the votes, to the public votes. We need to make our decision. We need to make our assessment. We need to judge these policies. If they affect us positively or negatively, then vote or approve them or disapprove them. Because simply every decision that you need to live with its consequences or its effects must have you involved in its drafting and its implementation. We cannot continue to live with the consequences of bad decisions taken by our politicians, who in most cases are corrupted, while we are not part of those decisions. This is the time that we need to give power back to the people, and the people are just you and me, and it is our time to rise and to seize the power of our politics and make sure that we make decisions or we amend those decisions that will affect us positively. And to finish this, the bottom line of the African Continental Unity Party is all about power. Our vision is to make Africa as a global power base, nothing more, nothing less. Power is at the center of the world's paradigm. Whoever happens to be weak will always be dominated and, most importantly, oppressed by those who have the power. And whoever managed to get the power for themselves or for himself will be able to navigate the world successfully and to achieve his dreams, to achieve his goals, whatever they might be in his life. That's what we want to be, reestablish Africa as a global power base. When you look in Africa today, what we lack is not the resources. We have plenty of them. What we lack is not the food, because we have 60% of arable land in the world. What we lack is not intelligence. We have intelligent men and women in the world who have done a lot of things. What we lack today is the power to organize ourselves and to organize our resources and do for ourselves what other people have been pretending to do for us. And this is the power that ACUP aims to acquire back for Africa. And we will do this with you, and we'll meet together working on this common interest of making ourselves powerful people as we once have been in the past. Isn't this a beautiful agenda that we all are supposed to support? How many change have you been able to achieve by supporting these tribalistic political parties that we have in our countries? Since 1960s, the time of African so-called independence, as far as I know, there's no significant change in our reality as African people. We are still weak, mistreated, oppressed from every angle you look at our reality. Maybe this is the time that we need to rise up. We need to stand up from bottom up as a people to reclaim our power, because power is always on the side of the people, if only they know how to organize themselves and to acquire the power. That is why ACUP appeals to you for this year 2023. Let us all come together and support the revolutionary agenda of the African Continental Unity Party and make this year a successful year of African revolution, most importantly African reconstruction and African emancipation. We will see you there. Peace and power. Thank you very much.